Most people don't think twice about a delivery driver. They show up, they drop the package, they leave. It's background noise, it's Tuesday, it's the box of shoes you forgot you ordered, or the birthday gift that almost didn't make it in time. You open the door, you smile, you say thanks, and by the time you've closed the door, you've already forgotten their face. That's what makes this so easy for them. This is the story of how a woman named Claire spent 3 months believing she was losing her mind, and the moment she realized, she wasn't.
Claire was 32, a graphic designer working from home in a suburb outside of Atlanta. She'd moved into her townhouse 2 years earlier after a long-term relationship ended. Not dramatically, just quietly, the way some relationships die, more of a slow exhale than a rupture. The townhouse was her fresh start. 2 bedrooms, a small patio, a neighborhood with a walking trail, and a coffee shop close enough to smell on a good day. She worked from a desk in her second bedroom, the one she'd set up as an office, with a window that looked out onto the front walkway and the street beyond. She spent a lot of time at that window, not watching exactly, just existing near it, the way people who work from home absorb the rhythm of their street without meaning to. That's how she first noticed him. The initial delivery was real. Late January, a Tuesday, a package of art prints she'd ordered online, rolled tubes in a long cardboard box. The driver was unremarkable in every way. Medium build, dark green jacket, a company-branded cap pulled low. He scanned the package, set it by her door, knocked twice, and was back in his van before Claire had even made it downstairs. She didn't look at him closely. Why would she? He came back 4 days later. This time she answered the door because she was expecting another package. A client had sent over some physical proofs. She opened the door, and there he was. Same green jacket, same cap. Package for Claire. He checked the scanner, said her last name. She signed. She took the box. She went inside. It was only later, setting up the proofs on her desk, that she realized the return address on the box was her client's office in Chicago, and the delivery company her client always used was different. A different service entirely. The van outside had been from a different company. She went to check the label on the box she'd just signed for. Her name, her address, but the sender field was blank. She told herself it was a mislabeled return, a mistake in the system. She set the box aside and made a mental note to figure it out later. She never did. Not that day anyway. He came back the following Tuesday. Here is what Claire told me when I spoke with her about what those first weeks felt like. It was so ordinary. That's the thing I keep coming back to. He looked like every other delivery driver I'd ever seen. He acted like every other delivery driver. He had the scanner, the uniform, the van. Everything was in the right order. So even when it started to feel slightly off, I kept overriding the feeling because everything looked normal. This is important. Write it down if you need to, because it is one of the most critical things to understand about how predatory behavior operates in the real world. Normal looking is a strategy, not an accident. The third visit, he didn't have a package. She saw the van from her office window, parked across the street, not in front of her door but close. She watched it for a few minutes, waiting for him to get out, thinking maybe he was checking an address or finishing a call. After about 10 minutes, the van pulled away without anyone getting out. She stared at the empty space where it had been. She went back to work. By February, she had started keeping a mental list, not written down. She wasn't at that stage yet, wasn't ready to make it that real, but noted, filed away in the part of her brain that a lot of women develop very young, the part that runs quietly in the background like an open tab, tracking small things that don't quite add up. Tuesday deliveries, 3 over 4 weeks, 2 of them with packages, 1 without. The packages, 1 real, 1 with a blank sender field that contained only packing paper, nothing inside. That box, the one with nothing inside. She'd opened it carefully, thinking maybe it was some kind of cushioning wrapped around something small. She'd unfolded every piece of paper. She'd turned the box upside down. Empty. She'd placed an order for something. Just a candle, something small, and watched the tracking until it showed out for delivery. A different driver brought it. A woman, older, cheerful. She hadn't seen the green jacket since the van without a delivery. She started to relax. Started to think she'd been building something out of nothing. He came back in the second week of February on a Thursday morning while she was on a video call with a client. She saw the van from her window. She excused herself from the call, went downstairs, opened the door. He was standing on her front step. No scanner in his hand. No package. "Hi," he said. Like he knew her. Like this was normal. "Hi," she said because she was caught off guard and it was the only word she had. "Just wanted to let you know there was an attempted delivery yesterday. Package is back at the facility. You can pick it up or schedule a redelivery." He smiled. "Easier if I just tell you in person sometimes." She didn't remember a missed delivery notification. "Oh," she said. "Okay, thank you." He nodded. He looked at her for a moment. Not long enough to be obviously wrong, just half a second longer than necessary. And then he turned and walked back to the van. Claire closed the door, went back upstairs, got back on her call. Her hands, she noticed, were not quite steady. She checked every delivery app on her phone that afternoon. No missed delivery notifications, no scheduled package, nothing. She told her friend Destiny about it that weekend. They were at Destiny's kitchen table drinking coffee, and Claire found herself downplaying it even as she was telling it, softening the edges, adding qualifiers, watching Destiny's face for signs of eye rolling. "So he said there was a missed delivery and there wasn't one," Destiny said. "Right. And he's come to your house like 4 times in a month. 3 times with the van. 1 time the week before, but that could have been..." "Claire," Destiny set down her mug. "Stop explaining it away while you're telling it to me." Claire stopped. "Okay," she said. "That's weird," Destiny said simply. "That's a weird amount of times for the same person to show up at your house, and showing up with no package and a fake excuse. That's not a delivery driver being friendly. That's someone who wanted a reason to stand on your porch and look at your face." Claire sat with that for a moment. "What do I do?" she said. "Next time he shows up, you don't open the door," Destiny said, "and you take a picture of him and the van." She didn't have to wait long. The following Tuesday, he had a pattern, though she hadn't fully registered it yet. The van appeared again. This time Claire was ready. She did not go downstairs. She watched from her office window, staying back far enough that she wouldn't be visible from the street, and she held up her phone. He sat in the van for 22 minutes. She timed it. Then he got out. He walked to her front door. He knocked twice. She did not answer. He stood there for a moment. Then he knocked again. Harder this time, the kind of knock that means, "I know you're in there." She could see from the window that there was nothing in his hands. No package, no scanner. He stepped back from the door and looked up at the front of the house. His gaze traveled up the face of the building, window to window. Claire pressed herself against the wall beside her office window, heart hammering. She heard him knock one more time. Then after a pause that seemed to stretch for a long time, she heard him walk away. She waited until the van had been gone for 10 minutes before she looked at the photo she'd taken. She had a clear shot of the van and a partial on his face, obscured by the cap. She could see the company logo on the van's side. She called the delivery company that afternoon. She gave them the van number from the photo, the dates of the visits, a description of the driver. She explained that someone using one of their vehicles had come to her home multiple times without a legitimate delivery reason. The customer service representative was polite, took down the information, told her they would look into it. 3 days later, a supervisor called her back. The van number she'd given them did not match any vehicle in their local fleet. Let that settle for a moment. The van looked right. The uniform looked right. The cap, the scanner, the whole presentation. All of it looked right. But the van was not registered to the company, which meant the uniform was either stolen or purchased second-hand. The scanner could have been a prop, or an old unit acquired outside normal channels. Someone had put in real effort to look like something safe and ordinary. Claire sat in her car in her driveway after the supervisor's call, not ready to go inside yet, and she felt the specific cold clarity of a person who realizes they have been in danger longer than they knew. She called the police. The officer who came to take the report was professional and thorough. He looked at the photo, noted the van number, took down the full timeline. He told her that unfortunately, without a more direct threat or an identifiable suspect, there were limits to what they could do immediately. But he filed a formal report, gave her a case number, and told her to call the moment the van appeared again. He also told her something that stuck with her. Document everything, he said. Dates, times, photos, whenever it's safe to take them. And think back. Is there anywhere you've been regularly where someone might have first seen you and followed you home? Coffee shop, grocery store, gym. She thought about it. There was a coffee shop 2 blocks away. She went every morning when she wasn't deep in a deadline. Same time, same order, same table by the window. The officer nodded slowly when she told him that. People like this choose targets by pattern, he said. They watch you somewhere public first. They learn when you leave, what you drive, which direction you go. And then one day they follow you home. And after that, they know where you live. He paused. They're patient. And they're counting on you not realizing it until it's too late. After he left, Claire sat in her living room and tried to remember the faces from her coffee shop. The regulars she'd stopped seeing without actually seeing. The background people, the ones whose presence she'd catalogued subconsciously and then filed away. There was a man in a dark jacket. He was there a lot. He usually sat near the door. She couldn't picture his face clearly. She'd never needed to. She installed a video doorbell the next day. She bought a door reinforcement kit, the kind that makes it significantly harder to kick a door in, and installed it on both her front and back doors. She told her immediate neighbors, an older couple named the Pattersons, what was happening. Mr. Patterson, a retired contractor with the energy of someone 20 years younger, immediately offered to keep an eye on the street. "You tell me when that van comes back," he said, "and I'll be watching." She changed her coffee shop. It felt like a defeat, and she grieved it a little. She'd loved that place, the specific light in the mornings, the barista who knew her order. But she chose a different one, farther away, off her normal route. She waited. He came back on a Saturday. They always come back. It was mid-March, 10:30 in the morning, and the doorbell camera caught him before he even knocked. Same jacket, no van this time. He parked somewhere else and walked. He stood at her door for almost 3 minutes, knocking twice, waiting, knocking again. Claire was not home. She was at Destiny's house on the other side of the city, watching the camera feed on her phone. She called the police with the case number. She sent them the live feed. An officer arrived in 6 minutes. The man was still at the door when the patrol car pulled up. His name was Marcus Webb. He was 41, worked a warehouse job, lived alone about 4 miles from Claire's neighborhood. He had no prior criminal record, which surprised her until she remembered what the detective had told her about the stalking case from the previous story. And until she learned that this was, for some of them, the first time they'd been caught, not the first time they'd done it. On his phone, police found photographs. 43 photographs of Claire taken over a period of approximately 11 weeks, in the coffee shop, in her car, on her front walkway, getting her mail, through the window of her home office. Long lens taken from the street. At her desk. He'd been watching her for nearly 3 months before she ever noticed the van. He was charged with stalking, criminal trespass, and harassment. He pled not guilty, then changed the plea 8 months later. He is serving 4 years. I spoke with Claire several months after the case was resolved. She was doing well. Still in her townhouse, still working from home, though she'd made changes. New locks, the camera system. A dog, a large and cheerful German shepherd named Walter, who she described as an excellent deterrent and a deeply unreliable guard dog who is mostly interested in treats. I asked her what she wished she'd known at the beginning. She thought about it for a long time. "I wish someone had told me that there's no such thing as being too careful," she said. "I spent months trying not to be that woman. The paranoid one. The one who sees a threat in everything, who calls the police over nothing, who makes a fuss." She paused. And that instinct to not make a fuss almost cost me everything. Because while I was busy talking myself out of being afraid, he was in my yard taking pictures through my window. She also told me something I found particularly important. The uniform was the thing that kept disarming me, she said. Every time I answered the door and saw the jacket and the cap, some part of my brain just said, delivery driver, safe. We have these categories. Things that look like normal things feel safe. That's human. But it means that if you want to stand on someone's doorstep without alarming them, the easiest thing in the world is to dress like you belong there. What Claire wants you to know: familiarity is not safety. A uniform, a van, a clipboard, these are props. Anyone can acquire them. Your brain is wired to categorize and relax, and people who mean you harm know this and use it. Trust behavior, not appearance. Does this person have a real package, a real reason to be here? Can you verify it without opening the door? You don't have to open the door. This sounds obvious, but it isn't. There is enormous social pressure to be polite, to not be rude, to answer a knock. You are not required to open your door to anyone you don't know, regardless of what they're wearing or what reason they give. A real delivery driver will leave the package and go. They do not need your face. Document before it feels serious. Claire's documentation. The dates, the photo of the van, the timeline, was what allowed the police to file a meaningful report and respond quickly when Marcus Webb appeared at her door. If she hadn't had those records, the response would have been slower and less certain. Keep records. Keep them even when you feel foolish for keeping them. Tell the people around you. Mr. Patterson could only help because Claire told him. Destiny could only talk sense into her because Claire told her. Isolation is what predators count on. Tell someone. Tell multiple people. The more eyes are on the situation, the smaller the window for it to escalate unwitnessed. Check your patterns. The coffee shop, the gym, the grocery store you go to every Thursday, the walking trail you take every morning at the same time. Public patterns make you findable. You don't have to give up your life, but varying your routine. Changing times, changing routes. Makes it harder to be tracked and harder to be followed home. Delivery verification exists. Every major delivery company has a way to verify whether a delivery is legitimate. Tracking numbers, driver ID, customer service lines. If something feels wrong about a delivery, you don't have to open the door. You can check the tracking number on your phone before you ever engage. Real packages have real tracking. If someone shows up claiming a delivery you can't verify, do not open the door. Claire still has Walter. He's learned to sit calmly when the actual delivery drivers come and to bark at everything else, which she says is exactly the correct policy. She still works from the desk by the window. She still watches the rhythm of her street without meaning to. The familiar cars, the neighbors, the slow, ordinary pulse of a Tuesday morning. But now, when something doesn't fit the pattern, she doesn't talk herself out of it. She picks up the phone.